What is going on, guys? My name is Lennon. Today I'm bringing you guys yet again another video, and for today's video I'm bringing you guys my Call of Duty World League Season 3 preview for the NA. I'm not going to be going over the EU and A and Z, and I know this video I kind of skipped a week. I actually skipped week 2, which I do apologize. You know, the videos are coming back like I said earlier in previous videos if you guys have been able to watch those, but for today, we're going to be going over the matches previously. Just give a very quick rundown. I'm not going to be talking about them, so this video is not 40 minutes long. Just a little bit of a disclaimer there. Obviously, you guys can see how long it is already. But I'm going to be bringing you guys, like, basically what happened in those matches, the current standings, and go over the preview for the matches that are getting ready to start, most likely in a couple hours for you guys. I'm hoping this video goes out the day of, so on Tuesday, so right before the stream kind of comes on, maybe the day of, the morning of. My goal is to have videos in the morning. I just like it that way. It's just me preferably. So what we're going to do, I'm just going to read through all the matches from last week, and then we'll get into the current standings, and then we'll hop into, like I said, the matches and the predictions that I have. And I have to admit really quickly, I did go 11 for 12. I went 11 for 12. I think the only game that I lost on was Luminosity. I want to say this is Luminosity versus Question Mark, and Question Mark actually beat Luminosity, which I had no idea that was going to happen. So besides that, I'm doing pretty well so far. If you guys want to let me know how you guys are doing in your predictions, I'll also have a link down in the description to a website called CoD Sportspedia where you guys can put in your own predictions. All right, so what we're going to do now is obviously go over the last week's matches in a very quick fashion. Just going to run through them really quickly. Phase 1 against their matchup against Envious, 3-1. Question Mark ended up beating Luminosity 3-2. H2K beat TK in a 3-0. Elevate ended up beating or besting CLG in a 3-1 fashion. Opti Gaming took out Rise 3-1. Cole took out Dream Team in a Game 5. And looking at Wednesday's matches, we had Cole going up against H2K, and Cole won that one 3-1. Rise Nation took out Elevate 3-1. FaZe was able to best Dream Team in a 3-1 fashion as well. Counterlogic Gaming 3-0 Team Caliber. Question Mark lost to Envious 3-1. And we also had for our last game, Opti Gaming closing it out against Luminosity in a 3-0 fashion. All right, so we're now going to hop into the current standings right now, as we have just gone through week 2, and we're getting ready to hop into week 3, starting today, I'm pretty sure, for you guys. So obviously, keep in mind though, before we hop into these, you're curious, why does this team have the same record, yet this team's higher than another? That map record, very important. And when it comes down to map record, after that, it comes down to win percentage as well. So keep that in mind if you're curious. Just look over toward your right. I'm going to be showing the whole graphic. So this is also found on CoD Sportspedia. I'll have this entire link in the description if you guys are interested on that as well. So currently, from the bottom 4 teams we have right now is Dream Team, who are currently 0-4. We have Team Caliber, who is 1-3, which actually, this is kind of interesting to me, that Team Caliber has a lower map record, but still is a game higher than Dream Team. And that's just kind of interesting to me. I don't know. Either way, Luminosity also 1-3. And Team Elevate, 1-3, and also Counterlogic Gaming, they're in the green, but just barely, as they are also 1-3, but a 7-9 map record for them. So looking at some other teams, we got 2-2 for 3 rosters. One of those being Question Mark. We have Complexity and Rise Nation. Coming in that 3rd spot, tied with H2K, we have 2-3-1s for Envious and H2K, like I mentioned. And at the top 2 teams right now, obviously being FaZe with the 4-0, 12-5 in map record, and Opti Gaming, who are also 4-0 and 12-3 and map record. So only losing 3 maps is Optic, and 5 maps lost for FaZe up to this point. You guys can also take a look at those winning percentages off to the right, and that's obviously the standings for right now. Very simple, very brief. Those you guys, we're not going to be going into depth here. We have that for a later part, which is obviously getting ready to come up now. So those are your guys' standings. Let's now hop into this week's matches for week number 3. So taking a look at our first matchup, it's going to be against Rise Nation and Counterlogic Gaming. Rise, who are currently sitting at 2-2, and Counterlogic Gaming, who are obviously currently sitting at 1-3. So let me to know before we hop into, the reason why I think this is going to go where, is the fact that Rise Nation has played the top 2 teams considered to be in the league and just in the game in general, being Optic and FaZe up to this point. So I believe they've also beaten Elevate, who were considered to be like a top 5, top 6 team right now as well, so that's something to kind of note. I'm not sure who Counterlogic Gaming has actually lost to. I can check that actually. Counterlogic Gaming, I believe, has lost to OG, H2K, and Elevate. So I believe that was one of their last games they played was against Elevate. So that was kind of a recent loss that they recently had. So first thing, whenever you look at this series, is the fact that I see these teams kind of being evenly matched in the fact of what they're good at. Not that they're on the same skill level, but just in general. Rise Nation, a very good hardpoint team. They're just a very solid team overall. They're very consistent. They have really good communication, something that I really like to see. One issue that I have though with Counterlogic Gaming is the fact that they're great in hardpoint. I don't say they're always going to win, but they're a very top team when it comes to the hardpoint game mode. When it comes to Search and Destroy, not their best at all by any means. They're just not able to notch it down. And I don't know what the issue is, though. When it comes to playing against Rise Nation, you have to be good in every single game type for the most part. They're not going to be like incredibly good at one and then incredibly bad at another. Like, you're not going to be able to catch them off guard in a sense. And like I said, Octane, incredibly hard to play against. Slack's been doing very well in that objective, just category overall. And Rise Nation just looking very solid. Like I said, the only major losses that they've had up to this point are against the top 2 teams in the game right now. So you can't really blame them a whole lot, to say the least. So I personally do have this going in favor of Rise Nation. I'm saying a 3-0. If not, then a 3-1. In no way do I see this going to CLG. They're a very good team, but when it comes to, like, I'm looking at, like, the AR battles between, like, BL Fire and Octane. I have Octane winning that most of the time. BL Fire is very good in his own regard. But I think CLG are kind of getting used to, playing again. They're kind of getting used to being in the league. They're getting back in the swing of things, I think. But when it comes to Rise Nation, very talented squad, arguably a top 4 team right now. And CLG looks to be pretty good in hardpoint, but every other game type, it's just not there yet. I say yet because it could possibly be there in the future. Next game we have is probably one of the most hyped games of all of the Call of Duty World League, in the El Clasico of Call of Duty, being Optic Gaming and Envious. Optic, who are currently sitting at 4-0, and Envy, who are sitting at 3-1. So that's kind of interesting off the bat because of how talented these two rosters are. Envy is currently sitting in that tied for 3rd spot, and Optic's obviously in the 1st spot. So just in general, if you think a 1 seed playing a 3 seed, you think fantastic, right? And you're obviously going to be most likely seeing that. However, I don't have this going to Game 5, and you might be curious why exactly. I do have this a 3-1 fashion for Optic. I do think Optic will drop a map. Now, let me say this. I think if Optic doesn't 3-1, I think they'll 3-0. I think it's more likely that we see a 3-0 than a 3-2, but I do have a 3-1, if that makes any sense. I know that sounds kind of odd, maybe, but hear me out on this. So I've been watching a lot of Envious scrims. I've been watching Teep stream primarily. I've been watching Cap stream a little bit. I don't think Slasher streams occasionally. So those are the main guys that I've been watching, and everyone knows the arguments that have been going on and the issues that they've had with one another. They seem to kind of like make up every once in a while, so I'm not really sure what's going on with that. But every time I notice in their hardpoint game, if something goes wrong, if they just barely lose it, or if they get destroyed, I mean, if they lose by a couple of points, it's not that big of a deal, but if they barely lose, or if they get demolished, there's always a reason why, there's always fingers pointed at who messed up. And granted, that's going to happen. There's going to be issues where, you should have done this, you didn't win this gunfight. There's going to be times where you can technically point at players and say, you should have done better. But the way that Envious does it together just does not blend. You have a very, very big personalities in both Slasher and Aches and Teep and Teep and Cap, who are trying to kind of blend it together. Like, guys, it's not a personal thing here. Like, you don't have to yell at each other. And we've had constant outbursts between those two. And honestly, coming up against OG, they're going to realize, we have big matches. We have big matches this week. I think they play Envious plays OG, and they also play Elevate. So 2 very solid rosters in their own regard. Basically a top 5 team, and also one of the best teams in the game right now, being Optic Gaming. So they know they have a hard week coming ahead of them, and they've been scrimming a lot. Envious has been one of the most scrim-heavy teams in the game up to this point. But I'm just not sure that's going to go against OG. I think, honestly, Optic Gaming are definitely one of the top teams in the game for me. Probably my favorite team right now. Not saying they're better than FaZe because they haven't played them yet. I haven't played them on LAN yet, so I can't say that for sure. But based off of online, how confident they are, how destructive they are, they're definitely one of my top teams, without a doubt. So I do think this is going to go in favor of Optic Gaming. I mean, I could say stuff about Optic Gaming. It's just going to be me reiterating what everyone already knows. They're a good hardpoint team, very solid when it comes to like CTF and uplink. Search and Destroy, not their best. I think they actually have like a negative overall team KD for that, and most of their losses have been in Search and Destroy. Regardless of that, though, that's the game type I think that if Envious does not win, if they don't win the Search and Destroy, because I don't see them winning the hardpoint. I don't know what the maps are exactly either. That's kind of an issue, which I hope to maybe fix as the series kind of moves on, the previews and stuff. But If Envious does not win the Search and Destroy, I think the series is over. But it's a 2-0, you're down, you have a CTF, you have an uplink, not in that order, and then you have the Search and Destroy at the end. But if it does come down to Game 5, it's anyone's game. It's anyone's game at that point for a number of different reasons. You're not going to see Aches getting a wraps in the first hardpoint. It's just not going to happen. I mean, if it does, feel free to correct me. I will definitely, if Aches gets a wraps versus Optic Gaming, you can totally roast me, and I will retweet every roast that comes at me because I was wrong, okay? I was wrong. But I don't think it's going to happen. Like I said, 3-1 to Optic, if not a 3-0. I think that's what's going to happen. I think Optic's going to continue on their perfection so far up to this point, not dropping one series. Next game we have is Team Caliber going up against Complexity. Now, this is an interesting one because TK have had a very rough start. They've had an incredibly rough start, to their season overall. They look really good at the beginning of the game. Everyone's thinking, oh, this is the TK of old. We're finally getting them back. Thank God. The Team Caliber fans absolutely celebrating. But when it comes to their online play, they're just having so many issues. I watched a video the other day of TK actually, I don't know if it was Scrim, I'm pretty sure it was Scrims versus FaZe, and it was an evac hardpoint. And I think Glacier basically says, like, welcome to the 100-point club. I'm not going to link it because I honestly don't, I might just forget, to be honest with you, but it's because this is just not that big of a deal. But FaZe absolutely destroyed them in a hardpoint. Not that that was, like, the only defining moment where I say, oh, TK lost that one game, they must be terrible. Like, no, I'm not saying that at all. But FaZe was like questioning them and saying, why aren't they doing this? Like, and if a team is questioning you and realizes your issues in a game, that's a problem. It's one thing to say, oh my gosh, these guys are bad, why are they pushing this? But it's like they were literally pointing out every single strategy that TK was doing wrong, and I think that they won like 250 to, like, I don't know if they even got over 80 points. And that's like very, very bad. Like evac, I like evac in some cases. It's not my favorite map at all because of the rotations. You know, I'm just not a fan of it. Uplink, I think it sucks, honestly. Not a fan of it at all. But, and some people might. That's not an issue if other people like it. But it's just, to me, and then they're not playing FaZe, obviously, TK. But Complexity is very, very well-rounded. Like, they know the game. They've been grinding out the game. They have really good communication for the most part. They know spawns. I don't know what hardpoint they're playing on, but I guarantee if they're playing Breach, which I don't think they are, if they're playing Breach, good luck. I would say good luck without a doubt because of how good Complexity is at Breach. You know, off the bat, they're very aware of spawns. They're constantly calling out. And I know Haggy has kind of been switching to the SMG role as well, which is not going to spell good news for TK either. If they shut down Gunjar, if they shut down Neslo, it's just over. Because Neslo's the main caller of the team, the in-game leader, as I would call him. Sharp's the captain, but I think Nestle kind of leads the discussion more, if that makes any sense. And they just seem, every time I watch TK and their scrims and stuff, there's always a reason why they lost, and it's not their fault. And I'm not saying, I'm not hating on them, I'm just saying every time that I watch some teams, there's always a reason, oh, we should have done this, we should have done that, you know, that was the issue to this reason. And every time TK loses around, it's, oh my gosh, you know, they're hosting. And I grant it, you know, host internet, without a doubt, a massive, massive you know, point in online matches, because I mean, people are gonna host, people are gonna like mess with you whenever you have different hosting and stuff like that. But it's not always the internet. Like if someone comes around from behind you and shoots you in the back, there's not internet involved with that because it was just a better play. Now internet could have been involved previous to that, but just keep in mind, Team Caliber seems to not want to, I guess, believe their mistakes. I'm not sure what it is. It's just TK's had a very slow start. I think they're going to pick it up a little bit. But against Cole, I think honestly this one's going to be like a 3-0. I hate to say that. Whenever I saw H2K play them, they absolutely dismantled them. I'm pretty sure H2K 3-0'd TK as well. And H2K is a very good roster, very solid. They're definitely one of the most underestimated teams that we have in the game. Even based on the record, teams still don't even respect them very much. But Complexity is another beast, and Complexity is going to point out a lot of their flaws. Very smart team as well. And whenever you let a team know that your strategy off the bat, they know that you're kind of weak, they're going to absolutely pounce on that. That's what Cole kind of specializes in. So I'm going to say 3-1. Could go 3-2, honestly. Wouldn't be surprised if it goes 3-2, but I'm going to say this one goes in Cole's favor no matter what, regardless. Next game we have is going to be Dream Team, taking on Question Mark. Definitely to me, maybe like a week ago, maybe like a week ago, I was thinking that these are probably the two worst teams in the game right now, but Question Mark has kind of edged out. I mean, they've got some good Game 5 Search and Destroy wins under their belt as well, and Dream Team, it's 0-4, the worst start to any team, regardless of Team Caliber, the only team in the league who has not won a single game, or single series, I guess you could say, a single series yet up to this point. And I don't know what it is with Dream Team. Honestly, you know, not that their online, controls what they do or how they do as a team. I thought they were just gonna be better online. I really thought they were, and they've just had a lot of issues off the start as well. And I'm just not sure like what I could point at and say, oh, that's their issue, or this is the reason why they've been playing bad, or and whatnot. They've lost to TK. I think they got 3-1 by TK. I'm actually gonna take a look at their matches now. Who they've lost to? They lost to H2K. Not really a surprise there either. So I actually went through and actually looked at some of the matches that Dream Team have played against, and they actually lost to Team Caliber, who's technically the second worst team in the game right now. They also lost to H2K. They also lost to FaZe, I believe. Yeah, they also lost to FaZe, and they also lost to... I lost my place where I was at. They also lost to Cole. So they actually went to Game 5 with Cole. Very surprising, actually. But still, I mean... I don't know. I want Dream Team to get on the board. I feel like this is their good opportunity to do so. Like, this isn't their last opportunity to obviously get a win on the board because, I mean, there's plenty of matches to be played. There's, what, 22 matches overall that you're going to be playing. You've only played 4 of them. They're definitely going to get a win on the board. I mean, you think so, right? But I think Question Mark is going to be a good opportunity for them to do so. I'll say like a 3-1 to question mark. That's just I'm spitballing. I think if there is one game that I get wrong throughout the first day, being Tuesday, it'll probably be this one. To be honest with you, not saying the Dream Team is going to win, but this one could go honestly in any direction. 3-0, 3-1, 3-2. Either side wouldn't surprise me, just for the fact of how dynamic and how unpredictable both of these rosters have been up to this point. Next game we have is going to be Elevate versus Luminosity Gaming. Currently, both sitting at that 1 and 3 spots. So one thing that I've noticed from Elevate, I've been watching them a lot, is the fact that they always have an issue, or that they always cause an issue in that ban/protect system. I saw them ban Tac Mask, I've seen them ban Flak Jacket, I've seen them ban, what was it? I thought I saw them ban Awareness the other day in a hard point. I don't know what that was about, but they still banned it. They're masters when it comes to that. And I also saw, actually today earlier, the amount of strategies that they have are absolutely absurd. Like, there was a point where I think they were playing Breach Hardpoint, and Vicento was telling Aqua to make sure that he has his Argus Overkill class. And I was thinking, an Argus Overkill class on Breach Hardpoint? That didn't really make sense to me. But I didn't really watch the end of the game. I don't remember exactly what happened in that game. But they have just strategies that are above everyone else. Like, they know the game, they know what's going on, and they seem to always do well with it. The only issue that I have with Elevate right now is their hardpoint game in general. Regardless of the Argus strategy, it's up to you. I really don't know about that. But their main issue is obviously their hardpoint game. They're very talented in Search and Destroy. They're very good in CTF and Uplink, especially Uplink primarily. I think, honestly, Nagafin's one of the best Search and Destroy players that we have currently in the game, just due to his knowledge, how much he studies the game. Not necessarily the best in gun skill, but he knows how to get around you. He knows your strategies. And Elevate's a very smart team as well, so it's going to be difficult to beat them when it comes to those tactical things, not just slay. You know, rotating and stuff on hardpoint, they're pretty good at. They just don't always win their gunfights. One thing that I see with Luminosity Gaming that I think they have good strides in is that we either see a really good Luminosity or a very bad Luminosity. We saw them have a great start to their series. I believe I think their first game that they played, I think they 3-0'd someone. Yeah, they beat okay, I was gonna say, I thought it was Cole, but they came on 3-0'd Cole, and I was thinking, oh my gosh, your Luminosity is fantastic. They're a really good team. And then we've seen them have a couple of issues. That's the only one that they've had. The only one that they had was the 3-0 versus Cole. And I believe they actually lost to Question Mark. I need to make sure. I'm pretty sure they lost to Question Mark last week. That's the game that I did not have any idea what was going to happen with that one. And they would be in separate positions right now had Luminosity actually won that game. They'd be actually 2-2, and Question Mark would be actually in 1-3. So something to note as well is that Elevate technically isn't supposed to be 1-3. I think one of the wins that they had to forfeit was actually against Question Mark. So but due to Elevate and Luminosity we're currently talking about, that obviously didn't happen for disqualification and Luminosity just not being on their right mind. So with that in mind, I think, honestly, if Elevate can win the first hard point, they're going to 3-0. I'll say this. I think it's going to be Luminosity winning Game 1. I think when it comes to Search and Destroy, that's in Elevate's hands. When it comes to Uplink and CTF in general, I definitely favor Elevate. But Luminosity on CTF could do something a little bit different. I mean, CTF is just kind of up in the air. Whatever map you're playing on, I don't know what I don't know. Like I said, I don't know what maps they're playing on for this week as well. So it could be any CTF map. I'm not sure how well practiced teams have been. They've really been only scrimming Hardpoint and Uplink at this time. So we could see Elevate get caught off guard. I don't really know. So I do see this one being a 3-1 in favor of Elevate. I do think that Luminosity was going to grab that first hard point. But keep in mind, if Luminosity can win the Search and Destroy, not likely at all, but if they can do that, this could easily go in Luminosity's favor. You know, just keep that in mind. I do think Elevate, though, will walk away with the victory. Next game we have is going to be FaZe taking on H2K. Now, FaZe is currently sitting at 4-0, and H2K, to a lot of people's surprises, are sitting at 3-1. I have to admit, coming into this league, I was thinking H2K probably middle of the pack team, but not up to this point. They've looked very, very good. Such a good slang-heavy team. The two SMGs of Lacefield and Legal are absolutely incredible, and just make sure if you're playing H2K to ban the Shiva because of how dominant Fears and Fizzerb are with that as well. Very good Search and Destroy team. If you let them win the first hard point, same thing, kind of same strategy with Elevate. They're going to wreck you. I would love to see H2K and Elevate play each other. I think they're probably one of the most similar teams that we have right now in the game overall. But I think H2K is just a little bit better at slang. So that's just kind of where I favor over H2K at this current time. However, you look at FaZe, I mean, Attach is going off. They have some of the best communication. To me, I think they have the best communication currently in the game overall. They're very confident. They know what they're doing. When it comes to hardpoint, I mean, do not let Zuma go off. Do not let Enable get in the hill. Their heat waves, their specialist use, they know when to use the things. Like, it's one thing and say, guys, I'm going to use my specialist. They're literally calling out, you use your specialist now. You use your specialist now. And whenever Enable is getting like 3 or 4 in a game, it's just not fair. It's not fair to have someone that good with the heat wave be, using it constantly. So In this series, I'm going to be favoring FaZe. I think H2K can without a doubt compete with FaZe. And I honestly, in some cases in my mind, I want to say that we're going to see kind of like a crazy thing go down. I think we're going to see H2K win. I just don't think that's going to happen. As much like I'm thinking and I'm saying, well, logic over like probability is probably where I'm heading. So I'm going to say FaZe wins this one. I'm going to say it's going to go to Game 5. I think it really will go to Game 5. I think without a doubt H2K will at least take a map. I'm going to be incredibly surprised if we don't see H2K take a map. So that's kind of where I'm leaning right now. FaZe is by far one of my favorite teams right now, just based on how confident they are. And when you have a confident team, that's very hard to beat because they know they're good. They know if they lose the map that they're not terrible, that they're still in it. And you can never really count FaZe out. I mean, you have Glacier, the guy who can be down 0-5, be down, a number of different maps, and can bring the guys back and still feel like he's on top of the world. So, well, with that in mind, I'm favoring FaZe. I'll say 3-2. I'll say 3-2 in favor of FaZe. I think I've just kind of bounced around this for the entire time, but that's kind of where I'm leaning. So now that I've talked about the teams in minor detail, I haven't really talked about them in too much detail, to be honest with you. I'm just going to kind of run through these a little bit quicker, not too much faster. But we're going to have Counter Logic Gaming going up against Complexity. These are obviously the Wednesday matches. Coming in this one, I'll probably say Cole. I'll say Cole for this one. I have looked at these, so don't worry. I'll say Cole probably over CLG. I think Cole is a much better strategy-minded team. I think CLG is very good just at the game. They're not good at like the strategy behind it. And I always say that Call of Duty is more about awareness, more about your mental game rather than just your gun skill. In most of the cases, obviously gun skill does play a major part, but I think if you can use your mental skill and also, like, I'd say if it seems a lot smarter than another, but the other team is a little bit better at gunslaying, I'll probably say the team who's smarter is going to dominate them just because they know what they're doing for obvious reasons. So with that, I'll say Complexity wins that one. 3-0. I'll say 3-0. I don't know why. Feeling confident in Cole. Just run with it. Question mark versus H2K. H2K is very good. I love H2K. I think they're. I tweeted on Twitter the other day. I said I gotta stop counting out H2K. What do they do? Well, they absolutely destroy everyone else. So I'm gonna say H2K probably wins this one. I'm gonna say H2K is going to 3-1. Question mark. There we go. Next game we have is Luminosity Gaming taking on Rise Nation. Here's an issue with me. I think the only chance that Luminosity has at taking a map off of Rise Nation is most likely the search. I don't know the maps. I swear, if I knew the maps, my predictions would probably be a lot better. I'd probably be a lot more confident in my picks. But I'm going to say Rise Nation, without a doubt, is a lot better than Luminosity Gaming at this current time. But if we see the Luminosity where they constantly go off, they let John host, they can absolutely destroy it. So I think the only case that Luminosity can make here against Rise Nation is to take the search and destroy. If not, I'm going to say Rise probably 3-0, so I'll say a 3-1 in favor of Rise Nation. Next game we have is FaZe taking on Team Caliber. Sorry, TK. I'm going to say FaZe probably 3-0s. If it's not a 3-0, I'm going to be very surprised. If TK wins this game, be very, very, very surprised. But FaZe just looking so it's incredible. And I said earlier about the scrims when they played evac hardpoint, FaZe was literally calling out every single thing that they were doing wrong. Like there were more call outs about what they were doing wrong rather than like where actually the players were, which is incredible. And I saw, and honestly, when they were calling out some of the things, I was noticing and saying, why were they doing that? Why were they pushing? Why do they have a 3-man push into pillars on evac hardpoint when there was only like 3 seconds left? It just really didn't make sense to me. Not that that was like their strategy, or for whatever reason they were doing that, I don't know. But there was just a lot of things that FaZe kind of pointed out in one game. I think that was like one of their first hardpoints they played against them that really showed me like how above FaZe is against a lot of teams, TK in specific. So I'll say a 3-0. If it is a 3-1, I mean, that's probable, but I'll say a 3-0. Next game we have is going to be Envy versus Elevate. I'm excited for this one. This is probably one of my, besides Optic and Envious, just because of the sheer, like, Aches versus Crim, just that kind of dynamic against the entire thing. This is probably my favorite matchup for a number of different reasons, because of how good Elevate really are. Envious, when it comes to slang, are definitely a powerhouse. So I'm going to go over this way. I think Envious takes the hard point, Elevate takes the search, so it's 1-1. Uplink, you're definitely favoring Elevate, right? For a number of different reasons, but when it comes to Envious's uplink, they're also pretty good at it. I mean, they're not bad at it, but they're fairly decent. I wish I knew the maps. I think I said it like 5 or 6 times by now. But this is a hard one. I really haven't. Whenever I was going through my predictions, I was saying, okay, I know all my other predictions. This is where I'm standing at. For this one, I really couldn't predict. I really did not know who I was thinking over another. I'm gonna go with Elevate. I'm gonna go with the guys from Elevate. I don't know why. They're probably gonna lose the hard point. If they win the hard point, it's over. I'm saying that right now. If Envious lets the hard point get away, which I'm like 90% sure it won't go away, but if Elevate can take that one, watch out for Elevate, because they're going to be up 2-0 without a doubt. And when it comes to uplink, you do not want to be facing against Elevate when you're already 2-0 down. So I think, like I said, I think it's going to come down to the CTF for sure. And if it goes to Game 5, Search and Destroy, could go either way. Honestly, it wouldn't really surprise me. So I'm going to say 3-2 in favor of Elevate. I think it'll come down to the final map. We'll see what happens exactly with that. That's kind of where I'm leaning right now. So in some cases, that might be kind of considered risky, and I would definitely say so. So either way, go with Elevate in this one, 3-2, all the way to Game 5. I think this is like one of the only Game 5s that I predicted so far. The final game of the entire week 3, it's going to be Optic Gaming going up against Dream Team. Technically, at this point, obviously, once Tuesday happens, we'll know how the records are. Maybe DT gets a win on the board. Maybe Optic loses against MVP. We'll see what happens. But I'm going to say this is a 3-0 in favor of Optic. Not a surprise at all. Dream Team just cannot compare with Optic when it comes to slang. Search and Destroy is really the only case where I see DT maybe grabbing a map on, so I can maybe say a 3-1. They took CoD to a 3-2, which is a very good team, very solid-minded team as well, so it wouldn't really surprise me if we do see a 3-1. And in fact, I'll probably say a 3-1. I'll say a 3-1. Optic should 3-0, but it would not surprise me at all if we see DT take a map off of OG just because of a Search and Destroy or something like that, so that's where I'm kind of leading at, and that's what I'll say. I'll say 3-1. I'll give DT a map. Guys, that has been my predictions, obviously, for Week 3 of the Call of Duty World League. Obviously, for the NA side of things, not going to be going over the EU or the ANZ regions for the fact that ANZ actually doesn't have, I don't think, matches this week due to the fact that it is Australia Day. So I think that New Zealand and Australia both celebrate that. So if you're from either of those regions, well, happy Australia Day. I hope you have a great day, mate. And I'm not going to say any other Australian references. But guys, if you guys did agree with my predictions, if you were to leave your own down in the comments, feel free to do so. If you guys did enjoy the video or learned anything new, feel free to hit the like button and stay tuned for future videos regarding a number of different things. I've got a number of different streams open, so I'm trying to watch a lot of the other teams as well. Regarding Liquid, regarding Dido and Silly's team right now as well, so I'm definitely in preparation for some events that are getting ready to come up as well. Guys, thank you so much again for watching the video. I'll see you all in the next one. Have a fantastic day, and until next time, peace out.